We've all been there. We wake up with the best intentions, promise ourselves today will be different, and then the wave hits, the weariness, the boredom, or that critical inner voice. And once again, rigid discipline breaks us, leaving behind yet another feeling of failure. But what if I told you the problem isn't your willpower? It's your approach. Painless discipline isn't an illusion. It's a system. A system that works with your emotional nature, not against it. If you're tired of fighting yourself, and you're ready to find a calmer, more sustainable path to your best self, just join me for 7 days. The Day 1. A truce with yourself, ending the inner war. Imagine standing in the middle of a battlefield. On one side is the you that wants to be healthier, more focused, and more disciplined. On the other side is also you, the part that feels tired, fearful, or apathetic. This internal battle drains more of your energy each day. The secret to transformation is this: true discipline is never born on the battlefield. It comes from a place of peace. Today we raise a white flag. The problem for most of us isn't laziness or a lack of willpower. The problem is that we live with a voice that constantly judges us. The inner critic. This critic constantly nags. You started late again. Why can everyone else do it but you can't? You're going to fail this time too. We've become so accustomed to hearing this voice that we mistake it for reality. The first and most crucial step toward discipline without suffering is not to silence this critic, which is impossible, but to identify and separate its voice from the truth of our own being. A short story, Maria and running. Maria would wake up every morning with the thought, "Today I have to run 5 kilometers to be a better person." But the moment she put on her shoes, her inner critic would start. "You didn't run yesterday, you're so tired today, you were never an athlete to begin with." This voice was so strong that Maria would either not run at all, or she would run with resentment and exhaustion, blaming herself all the while. One day, instead of fighting, she decided to just listen. She took a notebook and wrote down, unfiltered, everything that critics said. "You're incompetent. You don't deserve these good shoes. You know you'll quit again." When she saw these sentences on paper, she was shocked. This voice resembled the critical voice of her father from childhood. She realized this voice was not her. It was merely a relic of the past. In that moment the truce began. The next day, instead of the command 5 kilometers, she told herself, "Just go outside and take 10 deep breaths. That's it." And she went. This was the first step in peace. Day 1 Practical Challenge. The Identification Ceremony. Time, 5 minutes of silence. Tools, a pen and paper, or a phone note. Instructions. 1. Sit in a quiet place and take 3 deep breaths. 2. Ask yourself, right now, in which area of my life do I feel I am at war with myself? Work, health, personal discipline, learning. 3. Now let your mind go and write down verbatim the first judgmental sentences that come to mind. Be like a neutral reporter. There's no need to analyze or defend yourself. Example, you are never good enough. Everyone else is progressing except you. Others are more disciplined than you. 4. At the top of the page write, "This voice is my inner critic. This voice is not all of me." 5. Fold the paper. This is your truce agreement. Today you have laid down your weapons. You have moved from a position of fighting to a position of observation. This is the most powerful change possible. You now know that the main enemy is not you, but a voice that speaks for you. By identifying it, you have reclaimed your power. Tomorrow, in this new space of peace, we will do something your inner critic will call insignificant. But this small act is, in truth, the most powerful lever for creating a gentle and lasting transformation. Because tomorrow, we will discover the magic of the first likable step. Are you ready? The Day 2. The power of a small start, the miracle of the first likable step. The truce is in place. Now, in the silence after the battle, a fundamental question arises. When you are no longer at war with yourself, where do you begin? The answer lies in one brilliant, simple principle. Every transformation, no matter how grand, always begins with a single small step. But not just any step. A step so light and likable that resistance becomes impossible. Today we reveal the secret of atomic habits. Our minds react to large, sudden changes like a powerful immune system, marshalling all forces to return to the familiar state. This is where our willpower breaks. But there is a clever workaround. We outsmart our own minds. We transform the goal of running 5 kilometers into tying my running shoes. We transform the goal of a 20-minute meditation into sitting on the mat for one deep breath. This is the first likable step. An action so small and effortless that saying no to it seems ridiculous. But here's where the magic happens. The act of starting creates the energy of momentum. In 90% of cases, once you tie your shoes, you end up running. Once you sit on the mat, you likely stay for a few more minutes. You've ignited your engine with the least possible friction. A short story, Thomas and the Mountain of a Book. Thomas considered himself a failed reader. A 300-page book on his bedside table had stared back at him for months like an insurmountable mountain. Every night, seeing it made him feel defeated. His inner critic screamed, "You can't even focus for one chapter." Then Thomas created the one-paragraph rule for himself. Just one paragraph before sleep. Even if he was more tired than ever. Some nights, he read just that one paragraph and closed the book. But on many nights, a magical thing happened. After that paragraph, his mind got engaged with the story, and without pressure, he'd read 1 page, 2 pages, sometimes a full chapter. After a month, he had not only finished the book but had rediscovered the joy of reading, without pressure or self-blame. The key was taking the burden of finishing off his shoulders and focusing solely on starting. Day 2 Practical Challenge. Designing your first likable step. Time, 3 minutes of thought plus immediate execution. Instructions. 1. Choose your big goal. Improving health, learning a skill, work discipline. 2. Shrink it to the smallest possible action. So small it takes less than 2 minutes and requires no special preparation. Example, instead of 1 hour of exercise, standing in a workout pose for 30 seconds. Instead of cleaning the entire kitchen, washing just 1 cup. Instead of writing 1,000 words, opening a document and writing 1 sentence. 3. Attach it to an existing habit. Use the formula. After I daily habit, I will small step. Example. After I pour my morning tea, I will take 1 conscious deep breath. Example. After I shut down my work computer, I will read 1 line from my book. 4. Now do it immediately, take that tiny step right now. Feel the success in the moment. Today you discovered the amazing power of breaking things down. You learned how to turn a mountain of a goal into a pile of pebbles you can easily pick up. These small steps are the unbreakable building blocks of your discipline because they are built on a foundation of victory, not defeat. But how do these pebbles become a solid structure? The secret lies in gentle repetition and daily framing. Tomorrow, we will use the power of this first small step to create what will become your safe haven on stormy days. A calming routine. Because tomorrow, we are moving on to building an anchor of calm in stormy days. The Day 3. Discipline in the sanctuary of routine, building an anchor of calm for stormy days. You now have your secret weapon, the first likable step. But where should this power be stationed? If life is an ocean, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, you need an anchor. An anchor that holds you in your center of calm, regardless of the weather. Today we build that anchor. A small, non-negotiable sanctuary called your 5-minute morning routine. The first moments of wakefulness are the fertile soil of your subconscious. Whatever you plant there will grow throughout the day. If you wake up and check social media, you plant seeds of distraction and comparison. If you start the day in haste and stress, you cultivate seeds of chaos. But if you intentionally dedicate the first 5 minutes to peace, you are planting seeds of intentionality and mastery. This routine is not a luxury. It is an essential operation to claim your day before it claims you. The key, This routine is non-negotiable. Like brushing your teeth. You don't debate brushing your teeth, you just do it. The goal is not to perform a complex practice, but to create a small, sacred space between sleep and the world's noise. A short story, Rosie and the Train Window. Rosie, a high-stress manager, had a long daily commute by train. Life felt like a train window to her. Scenery, tasks, emails, expectations, whizzing past at a frantic pace. She felt she had no control over anything. One day, she decided to give herself 5 minutes before getting out of bed. Her routine was simple. 2 minutes of conscious breathing, 2 minutes thinking of 3 small things she was grateful for, and 1 minute stating a positive intention like, "Today, I will respond with calm, not react with haste." In the first week, she felt no different. But gradually, she noticed a gap. Between waking up and plunging into stress, there was now an empty space. It was as if, before looking at the fast-moving train window, she first sat quietly in her seat and settled herself. These 5 minutes became a sanctuary that the day's chaos could not breach. She had found her anchor. Day 3 Practical Challenge. Designing your 5-minute sanctuary. Time: the first 5 minutes after waking, before checking your phone. Format: a simple 1+2+2 structure. 2 minutes to ground body and mind. This can be deep breathing, observing silence, or drinking a glass of water slowly and with full attention. 2 minutes to nourish the heart. Speaking or writing down a small gratitude, or visualizing one good moment in the day ahead. 1 minute to set an intention. Stating a positive, personal phrase. Example: "Today I will do one thing with full focus," or "My kindness to myself starts today." Instructions. 1. Tonight, write the 3 parts of your routine on a card and place it by your bed. 2. Tomorrow morning, without thinking, just read the card and do it. Quality isn't important. Consistency is. 3. Make this routine your daily, first likeable step. Today you built a personal fortress. A small place where you are the lawmaker and the inner critic has no right of entry. This routine transforms discipline from an external imposition into an internal gift. These 5 minutes fortify you for all the minutes that follow. But life doesn't always happen within this safe sanctuary. Emotional storms arrive. Anger, anxiety, frustration. The next big question is this: when these waves hit you from the outside, how can you protect this inner calm? Tomorrow we learn how to use these emotions not as obstacles, but as fuel. Because tomorrow we move on to turning emotions from obstacles into engines. The day 4. When emotions take the wheel, transforming emotions from obstacles into engines. Now you have a sanctuary, your morning routine that acts as an anchor. But throughout the day, unexpected waves hit. An infuriating email, a discouraging comment, or a sudden surge of anxiety. The old approach says, suppress your feelings or surrender to them. But the philosophy of gentle discipline reveals a third way. Use the raw energy of emotion as fuel for movement. Today you will build a personal converter. Negative emotions like anger, anxiety, or frustration are, in essence, pure energy. The problem isn't the feeling. It's the mismanagement of it. When we trap this energy inside, it eats away at us and paralyzes us. When we hurl it outward, it becomes destructive. The third way is the conscious redirection of this energy. Think of it this way. Anxiety is forward-focused concentration energy. Anger is energy for change and setting boundaries. Frustration is energy signaling a need to reassess and correct course. Our job isn't to shut down this power plant, but to rewire it so it powers the house instead of causing a fire. A short story, Jack and the Fiery Email. After receiving a harsh email from a colleague who had jeopardized a project, Jack felt a wave of anger engulf him. His old instinct was to either fire back an even harsher reply immediately or give up on the whole task in frustration, fight or flight. But that day he paused. Instead of reacting, he noticed the sensation of anger in his body, the heat in his face, his clenched fists. Then he used the emotion redirect card he had prepared the night before. Next to anger, it said, channel this energy into one strong, brief physical movement. He closed his laptop, stood up from his desk, and did 15 bodyweight squats. With each rep, he channeled that physical anger energy into his muscles. After 2 minutes, he was out of breath, but his mind was clear. The anger had transformed into a healthy fatigue. He could now respond with clarity and assertiveness, without being a victim to the momentary emotion. He had converted the energy of anger into fuel for decisive action. Day 4 Practical Challenge. Building your emotion rescue card. Materials: an index card or a small piece of paper. Instructions. 1. Identify your 3 main challenging emotions, e.g., anxiety, anger, feeling overwhelmed. 2. For each, define one energy redirecting action. This action should be short, under 3 minutes. Be tangible and physical, to move energy from mind to body. Be constructive or neutral, not destructive. 3. Follow these steps to create your personal emotional energy conversion card. Title your card: When I Feel. I convert this energy into. Now divide your card into 2 columns. In the first column, write when I feel. In the second column, write I convert this energy into. Add the following rows. Row 1. When I feel anxiety, which is negative, future-focused energy. I convert this energy into action by physically organizing one shelf or one drawer for 2 minutes. This helps transform anxiety into a sense of order. Row 2. When I feel anger, which is boundary-setting energy. I convert this energy into release by immediately writing all my thoughts freely on paper, then tearing the paper up as a symbolic release. Row 3. When I feel overwhelmed, which is stagnant or blocked energy. I convert this energy into movement by taking a fast walk around the building, or by writing down only this question: what is the first tiny step? This helps break stagnation and restart momentum. 4. Post this card somewhere visible, by your desk, on the fridge. When you feel an intense emotion, instead of judging it, look at the card like an engineer and switch the energy circuit. Today, you transformed from a passive victim of your emotions into an active energy engineer. You learned that no feeling is your enemy. They are merely forces awaiting proper direction. With your emotion card, you have an immediate roadmap to turn a storm into a tailwind. But even a good engineer needs rest and refueling. If you constantly use your emotional energy without recharging your inner reservoir, you will eventually run empty. The next vital question is: how can we truly replenish ourselves without guilt or feeling lazy? Tomorrow we delve into one of the deepest secrets of gentle discipline: the art of guilt-free recovery. Are you ready to turn rest into a power? The Day 5. Tending the flame, not fighting the fire, the art of guilt-free recovery. In recent days, you've become a skilled energy engineer. You direct your emotions and move forward with small steps. But a vital question remains. Engineering all that energy itself takes energy. If you constantly draw from your inner reservoir without putting anything back, you'll soon face a dead battery. Today, the philosophy of discipline goes a step further. The highest form of discipline is the discipline to rest. In a culture that glorifies just work harder, rest is often labeled as laziness, failure, or a waste of time. This belief is a poison that eats away at you from the inside. Your inner critic screams, "You shouldn't rest, your work isn't done yet." But the physical and mental truth is this: a human is not a linear machine. We are a cyclical system. For peak performance, we need regular cycles of focus and recovery. Gentle discipline teaches you to view recovery not as a random reward, but as a strategic, scheduled action. This is tending the flame of your being. A short story: Sam and the 20% battery. Sam, a programmer, believed he could only rest when he was completely empty. He worked like a mobile phone until he hit 5% battery. Then he would recharge. At that point, recovery took hours, and feelings of guilt and inadequacy poisoned his entire rest time. One day, he understood a simple electronics principle. Batteries that are regularly topped up around 20 to 30% have a much longer overall lifespan. He applied this principle to himself. Instead of waiting for complete exhaustion, he scheduled 3 calm refueling stations in his day. After lunch, mid-afternoon, and early evening. Each station was just 5 minutes. Looking at trees from the window, drinking tea without his phone, or doing a few simple stretches. These tiny but regular interruptions prevented his energy reservoir from being fully depleted. The result? More stable energy, deeper focus during work hours, and most importantly, the elimination of guilt, because these pauses were part of his approved plan, not a failure of will. Day 5 Practical Challenge. Mapping your refueling stations. Goal. Schedule 3 short restorative pauses during your workday/daily routine. Instructions. 1. Map your day. Divide your typical day into 3 main parts. Morning, afternoon, evening. 2. Mark the stations. Find a natural stopping point in each part, e.g., between 2 major tasks, after lunch, before starting evening chores. 3. Define the right fuel. For each station, choose one calming microactivity, 2 to 5 minutes. That engages your 5 senses. Taste, a piece of fruit, hearing, one song, touching a plant. Is completely separate from work. No connection to projects, news, or social media. Is easy and accessible. 4. Sample schedule. Station 1, 11 a.m. Stand by the window, drink a glass of water, and look at the farthest point I can see. Station 2, 3 p.m. 3 deep breaths with eyes closed, plus a gentle shoulder stretch. Station 3, 7 p.m. Sitting in complete silence for 2 minutes, just listening to ambient sounds. 5. Put the schedule in your calendar or set an alarm. Respecting these appointments with yourself is like respecting an important meeting. Today, you touched a deeper wisdom of discipline. Preserving energy is superior to ruthlessly consuming it. You no longer push yourself as an endless system, but like a wise gardener, you commit to regularly watering the plant of your being. These refueling stations build sturdy walls against burnout. But an old mindset might ask, what difference do these small breaks really make? I didn't finish my big project. This is where we must redefine our perspective. Tomorrow we go to the heart of an inner revolution. We learn to see success not in distant outcomes, but in invisible daily victories. Because tomorrow, we talk about the power of focusing on the process and celebrating invisible victories. Are you ready to change the scale of your success? The Day 6. Celebrating invisible victories, the power of focusing on the process, not the outcome. You've built your refueling stations and learned how to tend your inner flame. But now we face a vital question. On this long path, what is the fuel for your spirit? If your eyes are fixed only on the distant peak of the final result, every small step along the way seems worthless and exhausting. Today, we experience a revolutionary paradigm shift. The most real successes are the ones no one sees but you. Our minds are wired to reward big achievements, completed projects, and tangible results. But real transformation, especially a calm and sustainable one, grows in the daily grit. When we see value only in the finish line, we turn the entire journey into a chore. What is a sustainable victory? These are actions that build your character, not necessarily your resume. They are choices you make in silence, without an audience. Focusing on the process means you take pride in the fact that you ran, not in the distance you ran. This mindset transfers joy and motivation from an uncertain future into the present moment. Today, be the hero of your small moments. A short story. Sarah and the Empty Jar. Sarah had decided to learn a new language. The ultimate goal. Fluent conversation. After 3 months, she still stumbled over simple sentences. Her inner critic screamed, "You failed again." She was becoming disheartened until her mentor gave her an empty jar and a bag of pebbles. He said, "Every day you practice, even for 5 minutes, drop a pebble in the jar. not for progress, but for fidelity. Sarah began. Some days the pebbles were bright, a successful short conversation. Other days they were dull and small, just looking at flashcards when tired. But the jar gradually filled. One day, in the middle of a broken conversation, she suddenly noticed her conversation partner smile and say, "I understand you." That night, when she dropped that day's pebble into the jar, she looked at the mound of hundreds of small stones. The glow of that moment of success shone from the accumulation of all those anonymous pebbles. The real victory was the filling of the jar, not crossing a finish line. Day 6 Practical Challenge. The Invisible Victories Log. Materials: a small notebook or a digital note file. Time: each night 2 minutes before sleep. Instructions: 1. Ask yourself 3 questions and simply write the answer to each. 1. Where today did I stay consistent when I could have given up? Example: when tired, I sat in a chair for 5 minutes and counted my breaths instead of getting lost in the news. 2. Where today did I choose kindness when I could have been harsh? Example: when I made a mistake, instead of self-blame, I said, "It's okay, start over." 3. Where today did I respect the process when I was tempted to cheat the result? Example: I reread a paragraph to understand it, instead of skipping over it. 2. These answers are your sustainable victories for the day. Record them without judgment. 3. At the week's end, review this list. You will be face to face with a completely different person. Someone who, in silence, is growing stronger. Today you change the scale of success forever. You learn to turn the flashlight of your mind from the distant summit back onto the path beneath your feet. These small, honest steps are the only things that are truly yours. By celebrating them, you turn discipline from a chore into a source of inner pride. Tomorrow, we arrive at day 7 and the completion of this 1-week journey. But this is not an end. It is the birth of a new identity. We put all the puzzle pieces together. Peace, the small step, the sanctuary, emotional engineering, refueling, and now a new perspective. Tomorrow you become the gardener of your own life. Are you ready for the seeds you've planted to take root forever in the soil of your being? The Day 7. Rebirth with a gardener's mindset. You are the gardener of your life, not its soldier. Over the past 6 days, you have laid down the weapons of war, taken small steps, built a sanctuary, directed emotional energy, replenished your inner reserves, and celebrated invisible victories. Now the puzzle pieces are complete. It is time to move beyond these maps and tools and formalize the new identity that has taken shape behind these actions. You are no longer a soldier at war with yourself and the world. You have become a gardener. The soldier's mindset is based on struggle, absolute control, and victory over an enemy. It sees the soil as a foe to be conquered. In this mindset, fatigue is weakness and retreat is defeat. The gardener's mindset is based on nurturing, cooperation, and acceptance of natural cycles. The gardener sees the soil as a partner in life. They know growth requires regular watering, compassionate pruning, and abundant patience. They accept that some days bring sun and others bring storms. Their success lies not in battle, but in their loving consistency. Gentle discipline is, ultimately, the gardener's mindset. You learn that watering equals your refueling stations and small routines. Pruning equals identifying and redirecting emotions. Patient waiting equals focusing on the process and honoring small victories. Today, we eternalize this philosophy in a symbol or a trigger word. A short story, Tom and the Bonsai Tree. Tom's father had given him a small bonsai tree, saying, "Take care of it. Everything is in the maintenance." At first, Tom approached it like a soldier, watering it on a rigid schedule, ruthlessly cutting its branches to achieve the ideal form. The tree looked weak and dry. One day, an old gardener told him, "Talk to it. See what it needs, not what you want." Tom changed his method. Some days he just misted it. Other days he moved it to get better light. Sometimes he trimmed a branch just a little and waited weeks for the tree to respond. Instead of fighting for control, he shifted to observation and response. A year later, the tree was not only alive but had produced small blossoms. The power lay in Tom's flexible, consistent attention, not in his initial force and control. In that moment, Tom understood how he had been treating himself, always as a soldier. That day, he became the gardener of his own life. Day 7 Practical Challenge. Carving your gardener's symbol. Goal: create a physical or verbal reminder of the gentle discipline philosophy. Instructions. 1. Discover. Start with a question. Which element or image evokes gentle nurturing for me? E.g., a weeping willow, flexibility; a smooth stone in a river, peace and flow; a hot cup of tea, gradual warmth; a candle, steady light. 2. Create. Choose and implement one of these 2 options. Symbol option. Find a small object, a special stone, a bead, a dried leaf, or draw a simple design. Place it where you will see it daily, by your computer, in your wallet. Phrase option. Write a personal mantra that sums up the gardener's mindset. Example: I water, it grows. Or my peace is my power. Or I take my steps, the path shapes itself. 3. Commit. Whenever you feel the inner critic rising or the urge to struggle with yourself, look at your symbol or phrase, take a deep breath and ask, at this moment, what would a wise gardener do? Congratulations! You have completed this 7-day journey. But this is not an end. It is the beginning of a new way of being. You now have a map and a compass. A map of inner peace, and a compass called the gardener's mindset. There is no more need to fight. Simply ask each day, how can I peacefully water the garden of my being today? From tomorrow, life is your practice lab. Some days will be sunny and everything easy. Some days will be stormy and you'll just need to protect your pots. That too is part of the work. Remember, gardeners never despair over a single day. They think in seasons. And this is the ultimate power of gentle discipline. Becoming someone who, in all circumstances, is at peace with themselves and the world, knowing that all authentic growth springs from this conscious peace. Now go and garden. 7 days ago, you arrived with the idea that there might be a better way. And here you are. You moved forward not through force, but through understanding. Not through suppression but through guidance. This discipline without suffering is not a trick. It is an identity shift. You are becoming someone who cooperates with their emotions instead of fearing them. Who, instead of breaking against obstacles, gently flows around them. Remember, true resilience is like a powerful, calm river. It does not resist the rocks. It polishes them over time and finds its way. You are no longer at war. You are growing. These 7 days were just the beginning. Now ask yourself this question. How can I be more kindly disciplined today? This question is your new compass. Trust it. The journey continues, but now you travel with a powerful companion, your calmer, stronger self. Take the next step.